What's good? Back at an action UFC 274 recap on That's a Tap, DJCT. Welcome everyone, and what a card, man! What a
What's
card
good?
it
If you,
was.
if you can't see, I'm channeling my inner Oliveira, with his shades, the sharp
Oh,
red suit, and his red shades, and all smiles. I can't speak Brazilian, or what is it, Portuguese, whatever it is. But oh man, what a card! What an entertaining card. Let me take this off. So
where
I'm
do we
all feeling
start?
silly.
I think we got to start on the
Oh man,
weigh-in just before
oh
the event. What were your thoughts? Your thoughts when you heard the saga with the weigh-in, and now we've heard that the scales
there was a dispute.
were played with.
Yeah.
Is it?
Well, I woke up. I genuinely thought it was a joke. I thought, it was just probably some prank. And then I remember you sending me a message saying, "Oh, Oliveira's missed weight." I'm like, oh, that sucks. First, my initial reaction was like, "Well, he's missed weight." Then I looked at it; it was like by 0.5. And keep in mind, this guy put a post out 4 hours or 5 hours prior to that, saying that he made weight, him and his team. So it was very unusual. And then obviously, as the day progressed, we started getting reports of, there could have been some sort of adjustments in the scales in the back. And there was a lot of back and forth. Ultimately, the point is there was a lot of dispute. There was no clear-cut reason. Now, there was a lot of things being said, yeah, but everyone was subject to that, but only two fighters didn't make weight. Fair enough, but the moment there is a championship fight in play, and when there was an external factor that affected the scales, I think the benefit of the doubt should be given to that fighter. Right? It was 0.5. I know, look, this is a very harsh topic in the fighting circuit, because rightfully so, because it's you're fighting another individual, so making weight, having a fair playing field is very important. But you look at it, this is a guy who's made weight consistently in the recent past, right? No, I'm not going all the way back. And he takes this championship run very seriously. And for them to strip the belt over the 0.5 pounds, right, it's just ridiculous, right? We've seen, like in the past, where, I think GSP once lost weight once in one of the championship fights, but he was still able to retain that title. Obviously, the rules have changed a lot since then. But I just think it was I think what was a magical night for Oliveira would have been even better if the belt was in play as well. I think a performance like that, some of the adversity, obviously the weight thing itself was adversity that he had to face, and to be able to go through that and put out the performance he did against the opponent he did, right? He's the rightful champion, right? Who's the lightweight champion? I ask you, who's the lightweight champion?
Charles Oliveira.
Charles Oliveira, that's it.
That's what
right?
Dana said after the thing. It's like in the eyes of the media, fight fans, he's the guy, just unofficial at this point. But I guess we avoided more controversy, the fact that he won. At least he knows he's going to get the next fight for the belt again.
Yeah.
Which it would have been more controversial had Gaethje won.
Yeah.
And then I feel like
Oliveira's chances would have been very slim, right? Like, I mean, you miss weight and then you lose the belt, lose the fight. I mean, I personally, my opinion, he should not have been stripped, right? I actually thought maybe once the information came to light, they'd make that reconsideration and say, okay, Oliveira retains the title, right?
Yeah.
I mean, man.
What do you think about other means? Is there ways of, like, say, everything's still at stake, but they lose points or something? Like, you've got, let's say he starts with a handicap.
Yeah. I mean, he was, I could be wrong here, but I feel like he was fined 20% of his fee for missing weight. Because with UFC, so you have the forgiveness range in your weight, where you're okay to come 0.5 above or even 1 kilo above, 1 pound above, right? But when it comes to championship fights, you need to make championship weight, which is 155 on the dot. You cannot be over that. For example, Michael Chandler fought Tony Ferguson. He came in at 156 pounds. Right? It's okay in a non-championship fight. 155 is championship weight. As a champion, as a belt challenger, you're required to make that weight. And that's where this dispute comes in, right? But I just don't think Charles Oliveira should be stripped, especially because of all these things that have happened. And what's the solution? I guess, like so many, what we've seen through this is a lot of people blaming each other. The commission's blaming the hotel, everyone's blaming everyone. So I think there needs to be some sort of system. And I can't remember who said this, but someone said we need to start using digital skills.
Yep.
Right, and that's correct. You have to, like, we're
in this age like you said. Plus, wasn't there, sometimes you got to use discretion in certain circumstances. Like there was a case of, clear alteration by the scales at, when the night before or something, and then everyone noticed that they were higher than what they were earlier.
Yeah, and they were officially informed. So when there is an external matter that's impacting this, they just need to give the benefit of the doubt to the fighter, especially the champion, right? It's just unfortunate how it turned out. But look, not in our hands. Neither of us are presidents of the UFC. Obviously, Dana's and obviously the managing party, I guess, make that decision. They decided to go with stripping the title.
But just quickly, sorry to interrupt, but what do you make of the 1 hour he was given? So he came in half a pound over, but when the fighter's given an extra hour, when I first saw that news, I thought, he's going to do it easy. Like, isn't 1 hour sufficient to lose half a pound?
Yeah,
or do you think he just didn't take that hour seriously and thought didn't do what he needed to and break a sweat?
Yeah,
basically. I mean, how do you know a bit more than me in that regard? How do you lose half a pound?
It's a good question, right? Because I think usually when we say we're losing half a pound in an hour, it's body mass. It's not that easy, but it's water weight. They try and cut water weight. They eliminate water from their body, which is where they dehydrate themselves to the point where they make their weight. Now, there's two reasons why maybe he wouldn't have been able to do it. Is either he had already exhausted all those options and was at the bare minimum in terms of his eliminating water weight, or the other one could have been that they were more interested in arguing the point that the scales at the back said we made weight. So there is some issue. So instead of using that time, I believe, to try and do the best they can, they probably were too busy chasing up the commission, maybe chasing up the officials, saying, look, we made weight. I think there's some error, right? Yeah. So maybe in Oliveira's mind and his team's mind, he thinks, look, there is some error. He's on weight. Right? I honestly do believe, I think everyone's talking about the change in Oliveira's approach and sort of his fighting style. And his aggression, and it's all coming after his daughter came into his life, and then that shows the impact and sort of how high he holds her. And he was willing to promise on her to say, look, I didn't touch anything else after that. I made weight and I went to bed. But we've got to believe that, right? I believe that. So I think, look, there was too many factors there to strip the belt, which is unfortunate, but. We went into that fight with Gaethje being the only person who could win that title. Yeah. And obviously we'll break down that fight a lot more. Quickly to touch on as well, obviously another big fight for one of the fan favorites, which is Cowboy Cerrone, got cancelled because he had food poisoning. And obviously that fight didn't take place, so they're trying to reschedule it. Or very vague about it, so we don't know if they'll keep the exact same matchup. Now, since then, Cowboy Cerrone has come out and said that he has 2 more fights left. So he's going to fight this, and he's going to fight one more. That'll be. He wants to get to 50 fights. I think the UFC will let him do it. Hopefully, against favorable opponents, so like he could ride off with that legacy, right? So we'll see what happens there. But man, UFC 274. Right. Let's start from the top. What do you say?
Yeah, look, going back to our prediction, didn't I say I thought it would go, I wouldn't be surprised if it went 5 rounds. I think you predicted a second round.
Yeah, and I gave it for Oliveira, right? Yeah. That was close.
Yeah.
I mean, man, Oliveira's been doubted for too long, right? I think people need to start moving past this person who used to quit inside the cage. He is as legit as it gets, right? He's an elite fighter. He's proven it. He's one of the most well-rounded fighters, one of the best in the UFC at the moment. Yeah. One of the best, right? He is the champion of the best division in the UFC. Yeah. A division full of killers,
in his prime.
And look at his resume, right? He's beaten the number one contender one after the other in definitive fashion, left no doubt, right? Yeah. From starting, let's start with Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee at the time was a big player, but he was coming off that big knockout of Gillespie at Madison Square Garden, and then that was our first pandemic fight, and Oliveira submitted him, right? Then Tony Ferguson, fought Tony Ferguson and dominated him, which then earned him that title shot for Michael Chandler. We can see how good Michael Chandler is. Knocked him out. Knocked out Dustin Poirier, who everyone was saying the uncrowned champ. Right? Yeah. Justin Gaethje. Who does that to Justin Gaethje? Knocked him down and flattened him out. Trust me, man. For however long it lasted, I think 3 and a bit minutes, was one of the most entertaining rounds I've ever seen. You name it, everything was there. Action, back and forth. Then Gaethje caught him with 2 heavy shots. Yeah. And he was throwing bombs. And that's what Gaethje does. Right? Gaethje's got power. Yeah. But what was great to see is that Oliveira was able to take that and come back. And he didn't play it safe. Not for 1 second. I felt like he fought with a chip on his shoulder. He felt like he had a point to prove. Right? I mean, constantly, right? He's getting disrespected going into these fights, right? On some of the betting lines, he was the underdog, right? What more does he have to do, right? Then he goes and he ultimately like flattens out Justin Gaethje, like to a point where it knocks him down, and then the rest of it he takes him into his world, and it was just only a matter of time. The moment he took his back, and when that arm was under his neck, I knew it's done. It's just a matter of time till he chokes. And Oliveira could have squeezed for as long as he wants, right? I think. We know that his ground game is exquisite, but we need to start respecting his striking, right? It's very crisp, like his Muay Thai stance that he holds, and sort of the way he chooses his shot selection. Right? He is a bit reckless in sort of getting hit, but it's because of his fighting style. He fights with a lot of forward pressure, non-stop. He doesn't stop, and he's been true to that. He said that every single time. I will not take a step back, and he has been true to that. I think. I enjoyed that fight. I think he is the rightful champion. When he beat Chandler, I had doubts. I was like, how can you be the champion, right? You got Dustin Poirier there, still in the sidelines. You got Justin Gaethje, and Chandler and Oliveira fighting for this title. Yeah. How does it legitimize it? After Khabib held this title, to say this is the champion. Yeah. This is the champion, right? What did you think of the fight?
Like you said, man, it delivered, in a short time, 2 of the best at it. And like you said, it just made my respect go up for Oliveira. Don't necessarily lose respect for Gaethje. I left feeling more like that. It was just Oliveira showing how superior he was. Not that Gaethje was, is any less of a fighter. Yeah. You gotta tip your hat off. What he faced, in the spotlight, everyone said he would be rattled. And you could predict any fighter would be rattled after what they faced. It's the whole legacy strip before the fight. Yeah, Gaethje had everything to go for, and the fact that Oliveira finished him in a submission form, one of the best wrestlers in Gaethje. Submission that impressed me more, the way he finished him, not just the win, but the way he did it.
Yeah. Did you notice how Gaethje wasn't engaging with him on the ground? The moment he went to the ground, he tried to jump guard at one point, and he just stood up and he said, come up, which was smart. I think that was strategic. Obviously, you do not. He has a clear advantage. You give anything on the ground to Charles Oliveira, he's going home with the win. So he was smart in that sense. But I think I sort of felt where Oliveira had the advantage, right, is that itself played into his advantage, right? So when he got knocked down, he went onto his back, which is still an offensive position for him, right? Whereas Gaethje couldn't do that, right? Gaethje fell back, and he asked Oliveira will follow down, and he will finish him there, right? So I think that was critical. I just was also surprised, and this was very similar in the Dustin Poirier fight as well, where sort of the expressions after the first couple of minutes, in Dustin Poirier more so after the first round or the second round, whereas with Justin Gaethje it was like after the first half a minute or so, is that I guess the realization, man, this guy is better than I thought. I felt that I could see that in them, you're throwing them and you're giving them the best shots you have, and this guy's taking it and coming forward. He's not even playing it safe. You couldn't deal with that pressure. And we saw that with the Khabib fight too. Khabib was giving him a lot of pressure as well, and that was Khabib's strategy. It's always Khabib's strategy. But I think, man, now that we know where we are right now, I just can't help but regret not seeing this Charles Oliveira versus Khabib. Right? That would have been a great matchup, I feel.
Yeah.
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I wanted to say, after the saga of the missed weight, was it like straight away when he was stripped, we had Gaethje put a post out saying, I'm already back up to 165 pounds. Did you see that? That was just like adding salt in the wound. And he had the advantage of obviously being able to get back to a higher weight quicker.
I think sort of that comes down to that water weight, right? Because they're cutting that water weight the last bit, and the moment they rehydrate themselves, they go up. But you're right. There was adding salt to the wound, right? Like this guy he is trying to figure out what went wrong, and this guy's taunting him, sort of. I guess part of it, and I saw there was a lot of hatred towards Gaethje after the loss, but I feel like most of it was fueled through that. I think. But look, at the end of the day, it's a fight game, right? We got, now a dominant lightweight champion. I'm going to keep calling him champion because he is the champ. Charles Oliveira, right? What's next for Charles?
Man. Look, the thing that stands out to me, it's probably got to be Dustin. Dustin, he put a post out.
Yeah, he did.
And also I think Chandler's right there, and Dustin.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
And I think Dana even acknowledged, because he tries to hide it, but Dana loves Michael Chandler. One reporter asked, "Is he your favorite fighter?"
Yeah.
And but what about you? Who do you see?
I think this is what's going to happen. I think Oliveira will fight Islam Makhachev.
Okay, right. Makhachev. Yeah.
I think Makhachev's the other guy the other call it the top gun in that division. Oliveira hasn't faced. Fresh matchup, right? And then it's a win-win for the UFC, right? Oliveira wins, the Brazilian market. Makhachev wins, they get Khabib's market back, right? So it's a big thing for them. A big fight. And so it's an even limit. Now that we've seen this Oliveira, you can't just say Makhachev is going to run away with it.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's a tough opponent, but so is Oliveira. So I think originally the UFC was wanting to book Makhachev and Dariush, but Dana was saying in the post-fight, look, I'm not actually opposed to the other one. And I think Joe Rogan was calling for this fight as well. So I feel, look, in my personal opinion, I think Chandler and Poirier need to get one more win.
Okay.
Right? Maybe not Chandler with what he did on the weekend. We'll talk about it. But Poirier, look, the last thing we seen of Poirier was him getting choked by the champ in a definitive. Second round was a domination. Third round was a finish. Right? So we need to see him come back and say, look, I'm still the man. Right? Because it doesn't make sense for him to fight the champ again after having lost to him in such a fashion. Look, I think it's going to be Makhachev. I'd like to see that fight. If not, how about, you know what I'm about to say? There is a name in that lightweight division that will always be of prominence.
Oh, right? No. What name? You mean? You're talking about
the Waken title or Dana White's talking about favorite fighters. This is Dana's absolute favorite fighter. So, look, I think the UFC will try to book Charles Oliveira versus Conor as well if he's available.
Really? Straight back, first fight. I think they will. Do you really think they'd throw him out to? They want to build his stock.
It's a bad matchup for Conor McGregor.
I think Chandler, Conor, because then there's one more winner.
I like that fight.
That one of them.
That fight. Yeah. It's a tough one, but I think the UFC would. Because it's a bit. How many more fights do you think Conor does? You know what I mean?
Well, I was looking at his age. It's funny you say that. Just curious. I googled his age just to see. Okay, if he comes back strong, how much left in his career? And what is he? 33. Yeah. Right, 33. So I could realistically see Conor. I could really see Conor fight at a high level if he stays healthy. For 2-3 more years. Yeah. So that could be at least 5 more fights. So if things go well. Yeah. So you really got to pick these fights carefully, I guess.
I think, however, right now I'm not a fan of this matchup. I'll be honest. I'd like to see. I'm a big Conor McGregor fan. You know this, but I'm not a fan of this matchup for multiple reasons. I just don't think it's a good fight for Conor to come back to, and I also just don't think that it's just definitely.
It's a disrespect to the other fighters. I think.
Exactly.
If they're just going to see him come back after like a year and a bit,
agreed.
Like he gets it immediately. They're going to be like, oh man, we've been putting in. We've been putting in mileage.
And you took the words out of my mouth. Exactly. Now, but this situation though is tailor-made for the UFC. Not many times are they going to see an opportunity, because how do you fight for a title, right? Sometimes if a champion's holding a title, more often than not, you've got to go through a number one contender before you get the title. We saw that Dustin and Conor fought, and the plan was to fight the win. Now, in this instance, we have a vacant title, right? So that's probably where the UFC will try to judge. I hope they don't. I'd love the McGregor-Chandler matchup. I also like the fact that it's at 170. That would be a good one. It's an entertaining fight. No real,
Yeah, I would like that too. I've got one, though, that I think I'd prefer the most, and it might surprise you. See if you can guess. If I was making the matches, and this is the fight that I would have Conor fight, his first fight back. Have a guess.
Oh, I think I know. Is that Blades and Shades? Is that Tony Ferguson?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah.
You get the money.
I was talking about it yesterday with someone. I said, look, why not? Tony's in a skid, but he's still a good fighter. Right? We'll talk more when we get to the Tony fight, but he showed us on Sunday why he's still a good fighter on Sunday. Let's talk about Gaethje though.
Yep.
What's next for Gaethje?
Look, like I said, he hasn't fallen down too much in my eyes. Like, again, this is a guy that's still in the top 4. Still could beat Poirier, still could beat Chandler, could beat anyone else.
Yeah.
He just lost to the better man on the day. I think he took it well. Like, I love Gaethje's gamesmanship.
Yeah.
He posted, whatever, it's the name of the game. I think he said, name of the game. Would I have liked it to be a bit more competitive, I guess, first round finish.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of a Gaethje fight. He just goes all in.
Yeah.
That it could end in the first round no matter what. Or, in fact, I probably feel more stupid predicting a 5-rounder.
Yeah.
But I think he just goes out there just to cause damage.
Yeah.
And sometimes he's a bit too reckless.
Yeah.
So, and you mentioned he's got the best coach in Trevor Whitman. So what if you were his coach advising? Like, where to from here, and what could he have done better? Should he have been a bit more strategic? Or
it's very funny that you say that, because obviously Trevor Whitman had a very bad night on that on Sunday. It's a tricky thing, because obviously you can't change much of who you are as a fighter, as a person. I think Gaethje is that. He'll always fight with his heart.
Like Tony,
right?
Nate,
like Tony, like Nate, like Conor even, right? Like, they all have their brand. Now, I think Trevor Whitman has been able to hone it in a specific way, and we saw that up until the Tony fight, and then the Khabib fight happened. I think it does come. I think, look, if I were to pick one reason why he lost, it's just because he met a better fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's it.
Yeah.
And I also think he didn't give enough credit to Oliveira.
Yeah.
He was saying constantly, even in the build-up, he's not as tough as Khabib. So in his mind, he's thinking, like, I was able to sort of land shots on Khabib. He's not as tough as Khabib. I've got him. I got his number, which is not correct.
He's more agile, I think.
Until you have someone in that position, right? You don't know until you face them. And I think he did underestimate him. That cost him the fight too. And I think once what he expected wasn't there, he didn't know how to respond. Right?
Yeah.
Now, here's another thing, right? Also worth noting, usually the corner advice come in during the breaks, right?
Yeah.
We didn't get to go to the corner, right? Yeah. If we had seen a full first round, and maybe Trevor Whitman would have been able to change some of the tactics.
Good points.
Right?
Yeah. He didn't even get to a.
He didn't. He had to improvise, and this is where fight IQ comes into play. When you see the likes of Charles Oliveira, you see the champions, you see, John Jones, you see Khabib, you see Conor McGregor also. The fight IQ. This is where they are able to make the adjustment in fight.
Yeah.
Right? You're doing it, and you're realizing, okay, this is not what we planned.
Yeah.
This is going 360.
Can they not be calling stuff out? And
they could
too with the crowd.
They could, but in that moment, you've got this killer trying to take your head off.
What minute of the first round was it?
I think it was 3.5.
3.5. Okay, so he got close to the end.
Yeah,
but he would have
went up, and then it was. I think once he got up again and really landed that clean shot on Gaethje, I knew it was done.
Yeah.
I mean, Gaethje was dazed. Who does that again? I've not seen Gaethje fall like that. I've never seen Gaethje go down like that.
Yeah.
Even when Khabib got him down, it was through a takedown. This was a knockdown, then back take,
And I also said, I don't know if I made the point in the pre-episode, but I believe, this is my philosophy, I strongly believe in fighters being active. And they're at a clear disadvantage when they've not been as active recently, right? Yeah. Because again, your cardio, you could have an excellent camp.
Yeah.
All those things. Nothing matters until you get into the octagon with a guy who's your match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Oliveira is the best of the best. Like you meet your match, and if you're not fight ready in terms of active, being very, very active. I mean, I can't remember when Gaethje last fought, but it'd been a while between drinks, I think.
He fought Michael Chandler, MSG, November.
Okay.
And then Charles fought December.
So even for me, like if a fighter's getting to that over 6 months, to me that's a bit like 8 months. Like again, you may not be at your best. You could still be at your best. But I just put stock into that.
Correct.
To like when you're fighting the best, activity is important. What do you think comes out and that's able to churn through? You know, you feel invincible when you're fighting regularly.
Why do you think it's been so tough for Conor? He's definitely a skilled fighter. Look what he's done. Look at his body of work. Right? Look at what he's accomplished. But he's having a tough time now because of that inactivity. His peers have caught up or surpassed him in terms of that activity and constant competitive environment. That's why it's going to be hard for him to come back and fight someone like Charles Oliveira.
Exactly. It's like any other sport. It's like a basketball. You know, you haven't played your last game until 8 months. Like, there's no way you're going to come on in peak condition. You're going to be rusty. And especially when this is an even critical sport, the most critical where precision matters. A round only goes 5 minutes. Right? Like you said, if you don't make it to the break, you have 5 minutes to win or lose. And you make one wrong move and you get clipped. You know, you haven't fought for 8 months. You get clipped. It's up to you. You know, the skill and the will inside you to get through that. You know.
No, correct, 100%. I mean, and well, talking about matchups for Justin Gaethje, hey, you know, let's get our guy back in the mix. You know, well, I don't know the rankings. I don't know if it's come out yet, but Justin Gaethje is still going to be top 5, right? Dan Hooker's back at 155. You know, let's get him to fight Gaethje. If he gets that win, Dan Hooker comes back into the conversation. Alternatively, there was suggestions, and I like this too. RDA is fighting Rafael Fiziev, another up-and-comer in that lightweight division. You know, 2 strikers, either way, you know, it's a good matchup. Winner of that fight fights Gaethje, you know. I think Gaethje does need to be active, to your point, but at the same time, take some fights, you know. I'd be strategic.
I'd even love, you know, and this is poignant because Dana was talking about it in the post-game. He was asked by a reporter, what would be Volkanovski's matchup if and when he moves up? And I'm like, oh, should he get the title shot immediately? Or would it be an awesome introduction to fight a quality fighter like Gaethje for Volkanovski's first fight in a lightweight division? Let's say he steamrolls Holloway. That could be his significant legacy for him to move up straight after completing the featherweight, and then your next fight is to beat a quality guy like Gaethje. To me, he's like, okay, he's on the map. I wouldn't give him Oliveira straight away. That'd be like throwing him out to the wolves.
Volk is good too, though. Right, Volk is good. I mean, if Volkanovski beats Holloway, he can definitely move up. There's nothing else. He's beaten Holloway 3 times. You know, that division needs to play out a bit more. Right? Look, there's some options.
Who would be your first like lightweight matchup? Let's say Volkanovski moved up today. Let's say he's just beaten Holloway. Well, no disrespect to Holloway. He still has a great chance. But I'm just saying, let's say he's successful. Who's your...
All right. So this is going to go against what you were suggesting before. But I would go for the title fight. Straight away. Oliveira's a tough matchup, but Volkanovski is also good. If you look at the people that he's beaten all types of people. But you could argue, not to that level of skill, but Ortega is a similar version of Oliveira. Right? And Volkanovski was able to do that. Obviously, he needs the benefit of having a test fight, right, is that you get used to that weight, fighting in that way. We saw that with Canelo going up, you know, that weight played a little bit, like carrying that weight and moving as you would. So that's a good thing. But here's the risk with the test fights is that if you take a tune-up fight, if you lose it, everything goes down the drain, right? And then also being a champion, it's more lucrative if you make a champ versus champ fight.
That is,
I personally think Volkanovski is definitely one of the pound-for-pound greats, right? He could easily be up there, number 1, right? I think
he can increase in weight. In fact, Volkanovski, to my knowledge, is the heaviest guy in a division in terms of after the weigh-in. Like he he has that clear advantage because he's naturally a stockier dude.
Yeah.
Once he clears weight to featherweight, he basically fights at a lightweight.
Yeah.
I believe anyway. More than
be.
anyone. So if anyone has that advantage of moving up in a division, he's probably closer to a natural lightweight.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And he's probably, as he gets older, he's probably doing this because he feels, all right, I clear featherweight.
Yeah.
The older I get, it's going to be just way too hard to keep cutting.
Yeah.
I've got my legacy at featherweight. Let me enter the lightweight, seriously long term.
Yeah. I would love to see Walker as a double champ. Right, tough task because it's division up is one of the toughest divisions you can think of. So, but look, let's see how that plays out. Obviously, a big matchup between Holloway. So obviously he's got to get past that. No easy feat in any way. Holloway is a great fighter. Now go to the. I don't want to talk about this fight, man, but co-main event: Royce Namajunas versus Carla Esparza for the women's strawweight title. Did you watch that fight or did you fall asleep?
To be honest with you, I watched it. I watched it. Yeah. Look, I've seen worse, in my opinion. The Yoel Romero.
You thought that was worse?
At Adesanya. I think that was the first round anyway, where they just danced. Was that the one where they danced? For a whole round. But again, it goes back to inactivity for me. When was the last time Rose fought?
Good question. Who did Rose fight last? Rose fought Whaley in November too, same as Justin Gaethje.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So again, it shows a little bit of what's that word again? Where you sort of playing cautious. They just wanted to sort of feel each other out for too much. I think it was just a flawed game plan. I think if it was just for the first round, yes, but keep in mind, Royce obviously has beat everyone. This is someone who beat her previously, and they hadn't met since. So Carla Esparza was the first ever strawweight champion. Yeah.
Tough finale, and then they created that division. So she lost. Rose lost to Carla and lost the inaugural championship fight. So that's always in the back of her mind, right? We know Carla Esparza is a very strong, dominant wrestler. So the game plan, you could see clearly the fact that she was moving swift and nimble is to avoid those takedowns. Not give an opportunity to be taken down. Right. Now, for me, I'll start with this. I actually thought this was a worse fight than the Romero fight. Because the thing is, I thought, okay, fine, now they've established it. We'll get into second gear, third gear. It never came. It never came. Yeah. And look, the thing is, I'm not blaming Rose here, right? It was someone from his corner, Pat Barry. What was he saying? So I think there was one point where some of the things were just, I didn't realize, I didn't know how that made any sense. And he was saying, we hear those boos, and that means you're doing the right thing. What do you mean you're doing the right thing? Obviously it's frustrating. Yeah,
well, the game plan was to probably just play it more technical, try to win on point, maybe not try to go into a brawl.
Yeah, but you need to do something to gain points. She didn't throw anything, I think, until the end, last one.
Maybe the whole game plan going in was to counter her.
They were both shadowboxing. And in my first glimpse, my first viewing, I actually agreed with the decision. I thought, Carla probably did more.
Yeah.
Royce didn't do anything. I mean, yes, you gotta beat the champion, but in the other sense, as a champion, you need to show something, prove something. Don't just stand there, which is what was happening. It was frustrating because I'm a massive Royce Namajunas fan. I love watching Royce fight. I'm a massive fan. That's what probably frustrated me even more. And I felt like Trevor Whitman was trying to. I honestly felt seeing those corner advisors that Pat Barry and Trevor Whitman were contradicting. And Pat Barry was trying to overpower. Obviously, being a partner too, it just gets emotional in there. Whereas Trevor Whitman was, in his best way possible, saying, we need more action. We need to get going, right? And it just never came, right? I just think my advice is probably, have Pat Barry in the front row as a supporter, but, because obviously it cost her the fight, right? I just think...
Could it have been officiated better? Is there ways that the UFC can start avoiding this a little bit? Like, because Dana just seemed he was pissed off, you could tell. He just swept it under the rug and just said, look, just one.
Yeah, he's never making that fight again.
It was just one of those snore fests. Yeah. But I'm like, well, why don't we get to a point where there's 2 rounds and the crowd's like, just implement something.
We've seen that before. We've seen refs step in and say, guys, we need more activity.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think we saw it in the Francis Ngannou Derek Lewis fight. Right. Same thing. I think in this, Keith Peterson didn't really do anything. I remember the commentators asking for it, should he be stepping in? But here's my biggest frustration with that fight, right? they know that Rose clearly has the advantage in the striking department. She's a phenomenal striker, right? Now, they were nervous about the takedowns and the wrestling of Carla Esparza. There were attempts for takedowns, and she stuffed it, and she got back straight up. Yeah. She was clearly able to defend it. Now that you've established you're able to nullify the threat, why not engage? Yeah. You have the ability to shut her out.
Yeah.
Right? That's what frustrated everyone. I think the majority of the general public is happy that Royce lost the title, which is sad. But I think, look, at the end of the day, it was a very frustrating fight to watch, something that you don't expect from Royce. Yeah. Like she said herself, I'm only in exciting fights. Right?
For a co-main, too.
It was this is how you lose that star power. Really, right? Look, I hope she bounces back. I wish she will bounce back. But I think it also opens up a good opportunity for the UFC to now bring in a new champion. So they obviously Weili's fighting Joanna in what could be one of the best fights this year if they keep up with what they did last time. And the winner could fight Carla for the title, right? Yeah. And I can guarantee you, neither of those two girls are going to be dancing around, right? They're just going to come straight in for the kill, right? If you remember, Joanna took the belt from Carla and she destroyed her.
Yeah.
Right. So, look, let's see what's up there. Like, hopefully, Rose should fight Marina Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Right. Either become the number one contender or Marina Rodriguez, another prospect in that division. But in terms of the fight, nothing much to say. If anything, they should have just said, no one won this belt. Belt is vacant. That's where they should have said belt is vacant. Belt is vacant. Let's fight again. But
it was a classic missed opportunity, like you said. And I even remember specifically saying on our preview app that this would be a opportunity to catapult Rose to stardom. Remember I said, movies. I said, like further cement her names, rap songs, all of this stuff, and it's just like, you're right. One performance like that can just throw you back into oblivion.
I mean, look, we need to be considerate as well. Obviously, like she said, she's been in great fights. Right? We shouldn't. I think for me, just to be clear, the frustration is not with Royce at all. Like it was that cornering. I think that's what cost the fight. Yeah. That's a prime opportunity. You got the advantage everywhere, and go finish the fight. Yeah. Right. She could have. She wouldn't have been. I mean, anyone can be knocked out, but I don't think there was. And I don't think you can blame Carla because she was obviously the less technical fighter, so she was playing to her strength, and she was actually advancing forward. There was octagon control, so it was tough. But hey, look, I guess let's hope there's only one of those in Rose's career, right?
Yeah.
Now,
and then real quick, what's next, though?
What's next?
What's next for them?
Yeah, look, for Rose, I think Marina Rodriguez, right?
Yeah.
Fight out for the number one contender, and I think for Carla, it should be the winner of Joanna and Weili.
Yeah, she's Yeah,
do you agree?
I agree. Yeah. Perfect, because that's the next pay-per-view.
Yeah,
that's going to get settled quickly.
Yeah,
and then we can arrange the Carla.
Yeah,
the other one. By November or something, or December.
Yeah, I mean, look, I could be proven wrong, and I would be happy to, but I think I can't see her beat either of those girls in Weili or Joanna. They're very strong. And we might even see a trilogy with Rose if Joanna wins the fight, or a trilogy with Weili if Weili wins that fight. So we'll see. Look, now the next fight before that, and this is probably what made it even worse, is because this fight was sandwiched between two crazy fights. Yeah, with full of activity, and the other fight I'm talking about, I think, took the spotlight. It's sad because I like Tony Ferguson. It was obviously Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chandler, and my God, what a fight! What a knockout of the year candidate. Like I read somewhere, Michael Chandler is now poised to get, just within his first 12 to 15 months of arriving in the UFC, knockout of the year, fight of the year, and debut of the year. You know what I mean? So, look,
big impact.
Great fight, right? Vintage Tony was back. In my books, Tony won that first round. Yep. Even on his back, Tony was still defending, and he was also landing his own strikes. I mean, the Tony we know used to throw vicious elbows from the back, and he was doing it. Yeah. Tony dropped Michael Chandler, right? That was Tony Ferguson. And I remember watching it, I was saying, Tony Ferguson is back. Yeah. Fuck this. This is going to be great.
Really, after a good break.
And then obviously the second round, and my God, what a KO. To have that presence of mind, to see that opening and throw that kick, pin perfect, bam, that's it, lights out, right? Classic highlight reel knockout. Michael Chandler has been everything that he said he will be. Exciting, entertaining, and a great fighter. I was very doubtful and very critical of him when he came into the organization, again, because of those Dana White's, being his favorite fighter and all that. He's getting too much love from the organization, right? I think he's been favored, but he's fought none but the best. Every single fight he's been in has been entertaining.
Yeah.
Right. So I think it's a crazy fight. It's a good fight, but he had a good showing, put him right back in the title picture, right? What did you think? What did you think of that fight?
Yeah, I first and foremost, remember I also said in the preview thing that I said it's okay if Tony lost, but just don't lose, don't get completely annihilated, so that the narrative is that Tony should quit.
Yeah,
and I think that's good the way it played. Yeah, anyone could get clipped.
Anyone could,
like Dana said. Anyone could get. It was a horrific knockout for Tony.
Yeah.
It's a knockout that he's going to need to take time off.
Yeah.
He's going to seriously probably need to take the rest of the year off.
Yeah.
Because that was a huge concussion.
Yeah.
But having said that, the pleasing thing was, like you said, he's shown he could still hold his own against the best.
Yeah.
Like Michael Chandler is up against the best.
Yeah.
So the Tony Ferguson name is still a big name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What they're going to do is just be strategic as to when he comes back.
Yeah.
What that kind of fight is, I think. But I think Tony didn't hurt himself. I just think Chandler improved himself. He stole the show.
I think it did.
His call out.
Yeah.
His charisma.
He's so smooth on the mic.
Yeah.
He'll be a commentator. Mark my words. My God.
Yeah.
This guy is just.
Yeah. He's a showman, and I don't know how old he is, but how old is Michael Chandler?
Michael Chandler's 36.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so he hasn't got that many.
Yeah.
Because he was in another organization.
That's why I keep saying I'm here for a short time.
Yeah.
A good time, not a long time. Yeah. He stole the show, but you're right. I think Tony being able to show that what he showed in the first round is encouraging to everyone. Even Dana said, when people asked, is this it for Tony? He said, no, he's one of the best still. Yeah. Anyone could get clipped, right? He showed us Tony looked so good in the first round.
Yeah.
He's still going to be with us, which was encouraging to see. Maybe a Hooker Ferguson fight.
Yeah.
See that was a banger.
Yeah.
Right.
But I will say this: his style is that he's susceptible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been a latest trend, but he's always, the way he fights, he's susceptible to be killed.
Yeah. His stance, like his hands always stay wide.
Yeah.
Gives this opening, right? But because he's so rangy, people are not able to come close, which is why it was a leg that got close, right?
Yeah.
If Michael Chandler was trying to get close with his hands, he would have got clipped, or Tony would have been able to get a shot out of it, right? But look, what's next for Michael Chandler?
Good question. I think Conor.
Yeah,
you got.
I like that fight.
You got to consider that.
Yeah,
absolutely. And then facing the for the number one contender.
Yeah,
facing the winner out of the next one.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think?
Yeah, I like the Conor fight, and I think the UFC likes it too. We all like it. Like, another fight is obviously this will highlight real KO and everything, but I feel like still can't validate putting him back in with Charles Oliveira or for the title which he's calling. So I think if they were to go with Makhachev and Oliveira,
or
and if Dustin, that's it. Dustin Poirier is that one up. Let's fight. And Dustin Poirier was mentioning today saying, I didn't hear Chandler call my name.
Yeah.
So
he wants the big money fight because, like you said, he probably knows his legacy with the UFC ain't long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wants the best of the best.
I mean, he wants a Conor fight. He said
he's
going to take time with his family, but he said the one fight I will cut this short for is the Conor fight. I'll come back. Conor fight.
Okay.
So I think, and Conor likes it doing it too. I think the Conor fight makes sense, entertaining. Would love it. I don't know how good it is for Conor.
Two strikers.
Yeah. Chandler is very reckless in his approach, right?
Oh, yeah.
And if Conor comes in precise as he can be, I think he can catch him. So I think it's a good. It'll be a good fight.
Yeah.
And what else?
Tony, what's next for him?
Tony, like I said, take time off.
Yeah.
But then let's look at someone like a Dan Hooker. We can even start looking at outside the top 10. It's okay. Right?
Yeah.
Let's build that back. You know what I mean? I don't know if Tony will ever be able to get back to that title picture again. You never know. We've seen Glover Teixeira come at 48, 42 to get the title.
Throw some couple names. Who's sort of around the 10 to 7 range? Who's later in the
Dan Hooker, RDA.
Yeah.
He's fought RDA already.
Yeah.
And he annihilated him, but it's a different time now, right?
Yeah.
We got Fiziev, they're both fighting. So one of the winner of that.
That's true. Yep,
Brad Riddell.
Yep.
From New Zealand,
Brad
right?
Riddell,
another exciting fighter. He could fight Tony, right? So there's a few options. Right? He could look at a few options. And then we had the Chaos Williams card. Chaos Williams fight, which was, look, I mean, with Chaos Williams, you either get a crazy knockout or then, it was a good fight. I think Randy Brown fought a good fight. It was very slick. From the second round onwards, he changed gears. It was very slick. I think he won. I don't think there was any controversy in that decision. The light heavyweight fight between Shogun and Owen Semprou wasn't that great.
Yeah.
It was just okay. But I guess, look, Shogun's a legend of the game, so let's respect that. And then I think he's got one more and he's going to fight and finish it off. Tracy Cortez got a win, popular among the fans, obviously partner of Brian Ortega. Yeah. Brian Ortega was there in the corner. That was a good fight. Andre Fiallo, quick turnaround, 2 weeks and a crazy knockout. Got performance of the night. I think he's a name to look out for in the welterweight division, right? He's a very aggressive fighter who comes forward. We got the fight of the night between Brandon Roybal and Matt Schnell. It was, again, a very short fight, very similar to the main event. But for however long it lasted, it was one crazy fight until it ended in that submission.
Yeah.
Right? So overall, great card. Do you agree? It was a good card. I enjoyed it. I feel like the UFC has been just building and building and building. They've not dropped back, right? They haven't failed. So look, a massive card coming up, UFC 275 in Singapore. You're going to be there in person. So looking forward to that in-person coverage.
Wood, of course,
with all the things that are going on.
Yeah, all things going on. But making the trip, really pleased. Beggars can't be choosers. I was saying to you off air that I hope, it was the car was a little bit stronger. I guess we had the Whittaker Vittori all set up. That would have been, to have that as a co-main or a third fight would have made it probably one of the top pay-per-views of the year so far.
Yeah, correct.
Given the interest and given the Joanna Wei-Lee, Valentina. But happy for Jack Della Maddalena. A real chance in the Asia Pacific to make his name there in welterweight.
Big card, a lot of eyes are going to be there. Main card spot. Big opportunity.
Part of me feels like there still might be, maybe not a huge fight, but they might still
add something.
It just feels, I don't know, going to Singapore. They really want to make a bang.
Could be.
For me, what do you think? What could pop up?
I think they were trying to find a fight for Li Jingliang.
Yeah.
Right. The guy who fought Hamzat last time.
Yeah. Chinese market. Yeah. Because obviously, they're going to make the huge trek.
Yeah.
To Singapore, might be able to sell my ticket for a couple grand and make and just watch it on.
Yeah, I don't think they could find him an opponent. But hey, could you imagine this? You land in Singapore and you had no updates, and you land, and then you open your social media, and they say they've added a new fight. Hamzat versus Colby. Money made.
Or Kevin Holland.
Man. Why didn't they put Kevin Holland? He's ready to fight any day.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Kevin Holland they could have put. But anyway, look, still.
Or Starvin. The fact that Starvin Marvin
was asking for Hamzat.
The dream was he still could be ready on the card.
Yeah, he was asking for, but I think they want to keep the Whittaker matchup. It's a good fight.
It is.
It's a strong fight, and they're trying to move it to the Paris one.
It is. I just feel like, look, pay-per-view, they want to make this like I said, I don't know, they could easily find future fights. People that turn it around.
Well, let's see. They might still add it. We never know.
And look, being this closer to part of the region, they might have people in the crowd.
Yeah.
They might have Volk. They might have some others around that region.
Volk could do a stopover before he's going to Vegas for his fight. Wherever it's happening.
Maybe a heavyweight, actually. That makes more sense. Yeah. There's no heavyweight on the main card. Maybe they could throw someone. Nobody at the top of the division, but maybe. Yeah,
never say never. They might add another one. You never know. We've seen that happen in the past too. Sometimes they add fights. So, I mean, look, fingers and toes crossed for everything to work out well.
I would have lost my mind if they opened it up and it'd be like Bam Bam versus Ngannou. Can you imagine if they had made that on this guy? That would have been the power card of the year. I feel.
Oh man. Yeah, a lot to look forward to though. Great fight night coming up with Blachowicz and Rakic. a big number one contender fight.
Oh my goodness, to have him, former champ, headline the next. I mean, there are some fight nights that are like, like I don't know,
below par,
and there are some fight nights where it's like, shit, this has serious title. Serious title.
There are some good fights in that fight card coming up as well, so I'm excited for that. Plenty of good things, obviously, in the MMA community. So obviously, one of my favorite fighters, Yoel Romero, got a one in Bellator, which was also good. Look, CT, it's nothing but fun unpacking these fight cards with you, and so obviously, getting in deep with it. So look, we had a good card. We enjoyed this card, bar that core main event. I think the main event and the Tony Ferguson fight and a few of the other performances made up for it. I think hopefully we're hoping the same performance or even better in the next pay-per-view. And until we catch you at another episode of That's a Tap.
Just before it's a wrap, we'll be dropping a boxing episode, I think, later this week. Canelo lost, and we're going to talk about Kambosos. That big fight with Haney and things. So let's drop a boxing edition.
Thanks for reminding that.
Later this week. But appreciate it. And that's a wrap.
Catch you later, guys.